everyone. My name's John. You know, I'm a fitness instructor and a strength conditioning coach. Um, I went through school to understand more about the human body and how it impacted people from a clinical standpoint. And I wanted to work with athletes and to see how they grew from a young age up until adulthood. And I got my undergraduate and my master's both in exercise science so I could work with these types of individuals. And that's kind of what led me into the fitness industry, that pursuit through school.
Is this something that you always wanted to do, or is it like you kind of grew into it?
I would say I grew into it. When I was young, I was like 16, and my brother, who has a pretty heavy spinal condition, had a surgery, and I looked at him, and he couldn't really walk, and I didn't really understand why. As a
Mm.
16-year-old, how can you see someone that's your brother not being able to do something when you grew up with him being able to do it his whole life? So when I saw that, I didn't understand what was going on, and I wanted to do something to help him. So I decided at that point I have to figure out why he couldn't do that and how to help him and others like him. So it started off wanting to help people like him, and then it materialized into something greater, and it continues to move forward.
That's nice because I look at like my fitness journey and it seems a lot of people start off that way where something has impacted them, usually quite young, and they want to make a difference to your point, like how you want to make a difference with your brother and you want to help him, especially from what I'm hearing, it seems like he was someone that was always able to do something and you kind of enjoy seeing him do some of the things that he was doing. Um,
Exactly.
how did how did seeing that like for the first time, how did that impact you?
I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't understand it. Um, you know, I it was obviously upsetting. I think anyone would be upset about that, but it redirected me toward understanding and saying, if you're going to help people, you have to have the knowledge to do it. I looked at all the doctors that were there. I looked at all the professionals. I said, why are they here? They can help him. How do I get there? So I looked around and said, I have to learn this. I have to become proficient at it, and I have to become an expert. Because if I don't, I can't help people like him. I can't help others. I would not only be doing a disservice to myself, but I'd be doing a disservice to everyone else that I could potentially work with.
And is that how you're giving back to the next generation now because of what you saw? And you, as you mentioned, you know what? I want to become proficient at this. I want to give back. I want to help people. How are you helping people going forward?
What I want to give to the next generation is I want to be an example to follow, to show them that there is a path to becoming the way that you want to become and to help guide them through struggles that I've been through that you've been through probably as well, so they don't make the same mistakes or have the same pitfalls that we might have run into throughout our careers. Because I know we all have gone through struggles trying to become who we want to become, and sometimes having someone to not I wouldn't say guide you, but work through things with you can help speed up that process so you can leave a better lasting impact on those around you. And obviously help people, stay in shape, get fit, and reach their goals that they want.
Yeah, I'm big on that. I'm big on like leaving something for the next generation that maybe I wish I had, or maybe I didn't had, or had to learn coming up. And I look at my own fitness journey, and I started probably taking it seriously, strength training, conditioning my body, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember for about 2 or 3 years, I just couldn't. I reached like a peak, I would believe, and it turned into a valley because it must have been two, maybe even almost 3 years where I was stuck at a certain weight, I was stuck at a certain strength, and I just didn't know what else to do. And the last thing I wanted to do was to become frustrated because I couldn't push myself further or accomplish more. But then I took a step back and I thought, what am I missing? And then I realized the piece that I was missing was the nutrition aspect. I wasn't fueling my body in a specific way to accomplish my goals. And once I changed that, because that was the only thing that I didn't focus as much on from a training standpoint, I was able to push myself. And I bring that up to ask you, do you feel sometimes when we have these goals for fitness or even in life, we are the ones that are preventing ourselves from moving forward more so than the actual goal itself?
Oh, absolutely. Just like how you touched on that, you were stuck in this rut. It took that whole process for you to take the step back to see how to move forward. Um, and I think that's super important to be able to get perspective on how to move forward. Because I think we're sometimes our own worst enemies, and we'll put these predispositions into our journeys and say, "Oh, that's too difficult. Oh, that's a lot of time. Oh, I don't want to eat that because it doesn't taste as good, or that's too difficult." We put these thoughts into our minds to almost discourage ourselves, saying we can't do that. But in reality, if you've looked at everything you've done in your life and what others have done, there is nothing that you cannot do if you put your mind to it. I, so I think it's about, in order to move positively through that, you have to almost change your narrative
Mm.
to saying, yeah, there is all this stuff, but how can I do it? I've done this stuff before in other areas. How can I do this now?
Have you coached people to change their narrative, and have you coached them through that process?
Yes, I have. And I can tell you it's extremely fulfilling, but it can be a grind
Mm.
because that's about reading into someone's psychology and how they tick. And it could, some of the things that they're going through might not be even with the training you are with them. It might be deeply rooted in their past. So it's kind of a like a peak and valley going through it with them. And sometimes some people are able to change that narrative within a month and really latch onto it and go forward. And then some people, as you can say, come in and out and struggle to keep their momentum because they keep falling back into that rut or that spot based off of habit that they can't break.
And I think that's key, right? And you mentioned it where it's habit. And sometimes we have behaviors that maybe aren't beneficial to us. They become a habit and it's hard to break. Or in a lot of cases, I would say that some people don't even realize it until maybe like someone like you would come in and say, hey, this is what's preventing you from doing this. This is what's preventing you from reaching your goals, right? And I think mentorship or having someone in your corner similar to what you're doing is so important because sometimes we don't have the support system that we would want. Like, do you believe that the support system that we keep around us is important to us achieving our goals?
Absolutely. Who we surround ourselves with directly impacts our mind and how we move through life. Your environment will push you one way or it will pull you back. So if you're surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who think in a way that you want to think, you will start adopting your thinking to that, whether it's good or bad. So who you surround yourself with, I think in a community sense is important. People that support you, people that are with you, people that are in your corner. They're not going to be able to walk the journey with you, but sometimes just knowing that there's someone in your corner and that's willing to be there for you is the push others need to achieve their goals in fitness and in other areas of health and life.
And how important has your support system been to you during your journey so far?
Oh, geez. Um, I would not be here having this conversation right now. No chance. I was lucky to have really good mentors in, like, from my brother to college professors that I work with that mentored me through my master's degree and thesis, to getting into the right place at work and having coaches work with me to grow my business. If I didn't have all of that, I'm not here. So mentorship is what allowed me to get to the next level because they pointed out where I was weak, but also showed me the potential of my growth. And they helped me through that process. So I think everybody should somehow find a mentor or people that are in their corner to grow.
And what is the next level for you, John, these days?
The next level for me, I would say, would be to continue to build my business and continue to reach others. Um, you know, to me, it's not about money, it's about just leaving a lasting impact on every individual I work with because I don't know how many people they're going to be in contact with. But if I affect 10 people and they have talked to 10 or 15 or 20 people, that impact is magnified. And I believe our words have value and our impact has value and it should be taken seriously. And that's the fun of it all. So I want to increase my reach to others to show them that there is a path to what they want in fitness and in health that can bleed into everything else that they do.
And that's nice. I remember that reminds me of a conversation I had with someone who was actually giving me a little bit of advice, and I was speaking to them. And they asked me this question. I'll ask it to you, John. They asked me, if you were to reach 1,000 people, would you want to meet each person that you're able to reach and impact? And I looked at them and I said, you know what? In reality, I would, or in my mind, I should say, I would love to meet every single person that I've impacted just to say that, you know what? Thank you for letting me know that you've been impacted by me, or thank you that I for allowing me to play a small part on that journey. I know that you deal with a lot of people face to face, but if you're given a similar situation, would you want to meet the people that you've reached or impacted?
I think I would, just to be able to see how they grew and how they benefited from my teachings, my words, my kindness, or whatever. Um, like, not it would almost be humbling, because we create these mindsets that we're not worth as much as we are, and I think that would almost validate that every person's words do matter, and it would solidify what we do and what I do, but it would start to create kind of a community of, hey, this is important and this should be taken care of and cherished. And, um, you know, again, it'd be humbling in a sense.
Do you have, looking back on everything you've done, do you have a moment where, do you have a moment that you're proud of, that you're like, you know what, this is a moment that means a lot to me? And if you do, what moment would that be?
I got two.
Give them
Um,
to me, John.
One, I was training an individual who had muscle dystrophy, and he was having difficulty skiing, and he wasn't able to stay up on his skis at all. And he trained with me for about 7 months. And his parents came back to me. He didn't tell me this, but his parents came back to me and said, thank you. He was able to ski for 3 straight days without any issue, like a normal kid. And I was completely blown away because I didn't even know that's what I did. I gave somebody who was born with a crappy situation and he was able to do something like nothing was wrong. That I would say was awesome. And the other thing was, I would say this past year, being able to battle through the closures, the anxiety, the hardship of being shut down for 4 or 5 months, and then having a second shutdown in December, and to be able to band together with a partner of mine to stay open, to stay, I wouldn't say profitable, but to keep our community together so that when we did come back, we wouldn't miss a beat, and we didn't. And that was because we built that community of trust and caring. But I would say that's something I'm extremely proud of, because I know a lot of people aren't as lucky.
And that goes back to your hard work and your dedication and your resiliency, because you're right. A lot of businesses overall were unfortunately in a situation where they had to close or they had to shut down for a period of time because not everyone did make it. So for you to weather the storm and to be there for your community, I'm pretty sure your community is appreciative and they're going to be there for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're extremely lucky, to say
So
the least.
any, yeah, so any final words, John, as we wrap up here today?
Final words, man, that's tough. Final words is, n- this is something that, if I'm looking at people who are successful or people that get to where they want to get to, everyone thinks that you have to take these ginormous leaps or make these unbelievable changes. It's actually not that at all. It's actually the conscious decision to take a small step in the right direction. So I guess I would challenge people, don't jump, just take the first step and see how it can go.